Ladies and gentlemen, this is the new Audi S3 next to me, and it's upgraded a little bit. It's been updated to be sharper, it's got more power in it, and plenty of technology inside and outside of this thing that we're going to talk about. But first of all, let's start with the design, then we take it on road like we always do and talk about the performance. Okay, starting with the front of the car, we talk about this singular frame grille there, which looks good. I think it looks good. It's got the 2D Audi logo on the front there as well, and we have this L-shaped things all around the car, which I'll show you some more of that. I think they've got some more of that at the back of the car as well. We have a day running light there, which is also LED, and you can change the pattern and what it gives you in terms of the light pattern on there, which looks pretty cool. I think it's something different. We have the big air intake on the side there, so on either side, so there's also one on this side. And if we look at the bottom here, we have this sort of front splitter spoiler thing going on at the bottom there to help with the aerodynamic nature of what the car should be. And I don't know, what do you think? I think the front looks good actually. It looks very sharp, it doesn't look over the top. What's missing here though is that S badge on the front. So when you see this in your mirror, you might not know what it is straight away. So I don't know, I think they should have kept S badge on the front of the car just to differentiate this from the standard A3. Moving on to the side, let's start with the wheels. So it's got this mixture of chrome and black finishing. The black is kind of glossy, so it looks nice. I think it looks very sharp. The caliper on this is not red. It would have been nice if that was a different color. We've got steel brakes disc on this one. These are 19-inch alloys, so two 35 R19s. So I think it sits well in terms of the proportions. I think it looks good and it suits the car very well in my opinion. And then moving along, we've got the nice crease on the side there, which gives it a nice sporty profile. It looks very compact as well. And then we move towards the back, we've got the spoiler over there. That leading line leads all the way to the front and back, again looking very sharp if you ask me. And then if we look on the B pillar, we've got Audi and S3 Sportback TFSI Quattro on there. So instead of having that S badge on the front, we get that on the B pillar. We've got sunroof on this configuration, which helps with, you know, lighting in the car, and it just gives it extra spacey feeling in the car. And then we've got the spoiler on there as well, which looks fantastic. It looks very lower, much lower when you look at the back area there. We've got the rear diffuser, which looks absolutely sporty. This is where you start to see the styling, the S styling in this. We've got the LED tail lights as well, which looks fantastic. Gives you that welcome lights display, which looks good. And then here we have our S3 badge just there on the left side. And one thing that's quite interesting is that the red badge on there is also on another A3, I think, which isn't an S model. So I don't know how they've managed to differentiate this as such, but there you have it. And then when we drop lower, we can see the quad exhaust there as well. You can also opt to get the special edition ones as well. And then you see those L pattern again all around there on the diffuser. But all this area here is what gives it that sporty vibe, that sporty look. So when you see this from the back, I think you know this is the S model, but I think the back looks so much better to me than it does on the front. And in terms of the profile, you can see there, it just looks so much nicer when you look at it from the back. I think they've done a really good job in terms of the styling and just the stance of the car. And this might become timeless in terms of design, but time will tell. And then if we take a look at the boot space, you've got decent boot space there. This is 325 litres. If you fold the seats down, it's 1,145 litres, I think, thereabouts. Again, I'll leave that number on the screen in case I've got that wrong, but you get a decent boot space. You can probably fit a large suitcase here and maybe one carry-on or 3 carry-on luggages or something. You can fit them in there, so it's kind of practical as well. So it's not the worst. And also big opening, obviously hatchback. You get a big opening as well to easily get inside and outside of your boot. I'll just back up a bit so you can see that from a distance. But yeah, that's what you get in terms of boot space. Before we look at the leg room, we look at the seats. Yeah, we look at the design. Looks really cool as well. You got the pattern on there in terms of the design, the stitching, the way they've done it. I just think it looks absolutely fantastic. And we get armrest as well, so we can pull that down and rest your arm. You've got cup holders in there as well, which is pretty cool that they've got that there. Although when you put your elbow in there, you might end up in those cup holders, so it would have been nice if that was shifted a bit further back or covered up or something like that. But yeah, that's what you get in terms of armrest, and there's no opening to get in the boot if you need to get in the boot or, you know, feed through longer items or anything like that. But in terms of the design, I think it's really good. They've done a good job in terms of the stitching and just the way that it looks. And then in terms of the actual knee room and space that you get in here, it's not the most space when it comes to knee room, as you can see there, and that's how I would sit in the front, and I'm 5'11". So if someone who's taller sits in the back or a taller driver sat at the front, it means you're going to have to compromise on the knee room that you get at the back there. You've got plenty of room though for your feet to tuck your feet in, so, and you don't sit too high up as well, so it's comfortable enough to sit here for a long period of time at all, with no issues at all. And then speaking of height, my headroom as well is plenty. There's no issues at all when it comes to the headroom at all. I can sit here comfortably. My hair is not even touching the roof. That's how much space you got in terms of headroom here. You got space to store things back here. You got 2 USB-C ports as well, and then you got Sonos sound system in here, which sounds absolutely fantastic. I've been cranking it up driving around here in France, and it sounds really good. But overall, I think they've done well with the practicality back here, besides just that knee room there that needs to be a bit more for me. But apart from that, I think it's decent. Can you sit someone in the middle? Maybe not comfortably, no. You can sit there. There's a transmission tunnel here, obviously, but you can sit someone there with, legs put on either side if you really need to. But other than that, I think they've done a decent job here. And we also get sunroof as well, so it gives you a better sense of space. And when you live in a hot country like this place, this will be very useful. Up front, things looks very premium here. We got this Alcantara finishing here, just going across the dash there. We have a 10.1-inch MMI display. You can also download apps. It's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and all that kind of stuff. The stuff that we've come to be used to when it comes to Audi's MMI system or infotainment system. The vents have this chrome finishing, giving it this nice elongated feel. So it makes it look wider than it actually is. And then this perforated area on the door card also comes with lighting underneath it, which you can change different ambient lighting in the settings, so that way you can have the feel that you want, the cozy feel that you might want when you get in the car. Again, Sonos sound system all around the car. What I also love though is they have all the buttons here that you can still use manually, so you can control the climate in the car. You have buttons there for your drive select. You have 2 USB-C ports, wireless charging area here, so you can charge your devices if you have a compatible one. The volume controls there, which is also touch sensitive, so you can sort of rotate to change volume and such. You got your gear shifter here, very chromy here, so you get a lot of fingerprint all over it. So if that's something that's going to annoy you, do bear that in mind. Park buttons over there as well. So you got all the usual here that we're used to seeing in Audi cars, and you got 2 cup holders here, so you can place wherever you want it in there. Some little space here to store things and so on. So all the usual stuff that you see in Audi cars nowadays. Below that is another cubby hole, so you can store things. So I've got my SSD and sunglasses there at the moment. So, and that just gets covered up if you don't want anyone to see what's in there. But that's also doubles up as your armrest, so you can sit comfortably whilst you're driving for long journeys, for example. And then on the steering, you have all your controls in terms of volume control, being able to change track, and just controls for your instrument cluster as well, because the instrument, you can change that display to suit whatever you're trying to do, and you've also got your multifunction button there that you can modify to do something else in the settings. On the instrument cluster, like I said, you can change the view, so as you can see there. Then you can go across to see different things like your map and what you're playing in terms of music. So plenty of options there, but again, it's stuff that we've become accustomed to in Audi cars. So if you've driven one before, been in one before, you straight away just get used to all that settings and how to navigate it. Behind the steering wheel, you also get your paddle shift as well. So you got one there, you got the one on the other side. This particular version here doesn't have the flat bottom steering, unfortunately, but that would have been nice to have in this as well. You also have head-up display as well, which displays all the vital information that you need to see, so you don't take your eyes off the road. Easy drive select, so we can cycle through them. So you have efficiency, we have comfort, auto, dynamic, and if you look in the corner, we also get dynamic plus, which does all sorts that we'll talk about when we go through the drive. If we go into individual and edit, we can actually see the kind of stuff that you can modify in this. So you got your torque splitter for the rear wheels, so you got comfortable, balanced, or dynamic. You got your drive system, which have efficient, balanced, and dynamic. Again, you got steering. Engine sound can also be sort of modified, which is interesting. This doesn't have the adaptive damper, so you don't have the DCC stuff that you can modify for that purpose. For the rest of the infotainment system is very easy and straightforward to use. As you can see there, we can go into settings to modify things like your sound settings, so you can change treble, bass, and surround level. You can see other settings there as well, like brightness, and you can turn things off as well in terms of safety. But in general, it's very easy to use, very fluid. It's just nice and smooth as well. If we go into car settings, we can start looking at things like your lights and vision. In lights and vision, you can see exterior lighting settings, so you can change daylight, digital light signatures, so you can change it to different things. So you can see all the patterns that's available there, which is pretty cool. So you can select which one suits your preference, confirm, and you're good to go. If we go back out, we can go into your drive assist. So if you go to drive assist, you can see all the safety options there. We've got speed warning, traffic sign, distance warning, audio presense, lane departure warning, and so on and so forth. So you have loads of safety options there to keep you nice and safe on the road. Overall, I think that front cabin is looking very good. They've done a good job. I think some might say maybe you need a bigger screen in front, but I think it actually is in proportion with the rest of the car. I think it's perfect the way they've got it. Woo! Oh, man, I wish you guys can hear the sound that's coming out from this thing. It's absolutely fantastic. It's not the loudest inside the cabin itself to actually appreciate the exhaust notes that you get from this and the engine notes, but boy. But anyway, I digress. Let's get some stats out of the way, because that's not the real story here. The real story is all about the tech and the engineering that's involved in this to make it the best experience, to give you the best experience, the Audi sports experience that you can get in the Audi S3. And this is a sportback version as well. So we have 333 PS, which is 23 more than the predecessor. We have 420 Newton meters of torque, which is 20 more than the predecessor. And this will give you 155 miles per hour top speed and 0 to 62 in 4.7 seconds. So you have plenty of numbers there to help you navigate the road, whether it's you want to move off the line, whether it's you want to take it on track and do some crazy top speeds, or whatever you wish to do. All that is there. But the real story is they've changed a couple of things here that we should talk about. First of all, the steering response is improved in terms of how direct this is. So they've improved or stiffened the wishbone bearing in this to make it stiffer, and also negative camber as well. So that way, as a result, you get better steering response regardless of what driving mode you've selected using that drive select button that we've got there. And then we also have a new dynamic plus mode. This is not to be confused with drift mode in the RS3. With this one, it just means you get better throttle response, better steering in terms of how direct it is, and also you get better gear shift as well. So you get later upshift and early downshift in this. So with that, all that combined together, sticking to dynamic plus mode, you are getting yourself into a mode where you might start driving like a crazy person on the road, quite erratic or whatever you might want to say. But all that means really, in all honesty, is just better response, better speed and directness. And finally, we have that new torque splitter as well, and that allows for fully variable torque distribution between the rear wheels. So that way, depending on what you're doing, so it will consider, it uses, they're both electronically controlled, so they have those multiplated multiple clutches on either sides, and this is electronically controlled. So what that means is basically, whether it's you, depend on which drive select mode you've got it in. So for example, you drive dynamic plus, for example, when you stick in those sort of mode, it will distribute the power where it needs to be in the most efficient way. So that way you get the right power going to the rear wheels. So in turn, you get better agility, you get better cornering, for example. It just grips the road, and it's just fantastic, especially when you start to feel it. We were chucking around corners today up in the mountains here in France, and it was just doing such a fantastic job that it was hard to get it to almost, kick the back end out on the road. You just couldn't do it. So all that means is this has got a really good control and good throttle response as well, good gear shifting in terms of the speed, so you get good response in there as well. With Dynamic Plus, it increases the idle speed, so that way your throttle response is better, the gear shifting is better as well, and all around you get a combination of good handling, good gear shift, and good level of speed as well. It just handles the corner so well that it fills you with confidence that you don't have to worry at all. It will go as far as you're willing to push the car, because it sends the power to the outside of the rear wheels, for example. So when you corner in, you just get a better experience. It just sticks to the corner, and you got plenty of confidence just chucking around. It's just agile, it's nimble, it's just a really, really great car for someone who loves the S Sport and wants to experience it. And I think this is definitely something to whet your appetite. If you're thinking of getting an RS3, this might be one to actually try out and see what that feels like before you go extra mile in getting that car that's more designed for oversteering on the road. Definitely try this out and see what you feel. But overall experience for me, it's just a fantastic drive. But let's bring it back though to the day-to-day drive, so your daily drivers on the road, you know, urban and all that stuff. So if you get this one, which is the black edition, it does not come with adaptive dampers. So you'd have to go for the Vorsprung edition to get that. So all that means is this is stiffer. So you start to feel that when you drive on the normal roads and you're not cornering, not doing any crazy speeds or anything like that. You feel the speed bumps, you feel the road bumps a bit more. So especially in the UK, you're going to be feeling that a bit more. So that's something to definitely consider in terms of speccing this up to what you want it to be for your drive experience.